Hi, so welcome to Better Waste Services podcast. Unfortunately, Tim can't be with us today, but I'm sure he'll listen to this as ASAP. So today we're joined by Emma and Kate from PropUp. So do you want to do a better introduction to you guys and just a brief thing about where this all started? I think it's probably a good place.
So Emma and I run PropUp Project. We met as TV runners, actually, like 15 years ago or something. Crazy. And we worked in the industry up to producers, and time again we saw the waste of set, props, costume, furniture. And we always said to each other, so many people could use these items, whether it be homeless support or schools, underfunded schools. The lists kind of go on. And we went on our merry ways in the industry. And then during COVID, we said, what is this idea we've always had? No time like the present, let's explore it. And so we called it PropUp. So we prop up the community with prop, set, costume, etc. And we work with the industry to provide an alternative solution to the waste of film and TV production. In a nutshell.
Has it ever been done before? Is this something that, like, other people, surely there must be so much waste from it. Like, I've just been watching series and what have you, and I was looking at it from in terms of what you guys must have seen. Gone, well, where does all of that go? Like, even like watching Bridgerton, I was like, where's all the costumes go? I mean, I'm guessing they get recycled onto the next one, but when that stops, what happens to everything?
Well, this is a question we kept asking ourselves. It's like, what does happen to this stuff? And I'm sure different industries have been doing different things along the way, but through a bit of research early doors, we couldn't really see anyone doing this, taking the stuff and giving it to organisations and people that need it the most. So that's why we set up PropUp in September 2021. And we sort of work with production companies and studios across the UK to rehome, resell and recycle any leftovers that they have, giving back to the community and encouraging the circular economy.
And I think to ask if it was done before, I think conscious art directors, conscious costume departments, conscious prop departments will have thought about where it goes next. So they might have contacted the local charity shop or done what they could or salvaged as much as they could for the next production they're going to go on. But actually, when we dug into it, there was a serious issue because there's really small amount of time, really small amount of like budget and capacity when you're making productions. It's like very fast turnaround, fast pace. They haven't got time to think about getting lunch, let alone what they're going to do with the stuff that afterwards. So there was a real issue and they only could do so much. And we couldn't see any other company within the industry doing what we were doing.
So what was happening to it all? Just
mixture.
Staying in storage, never to see the light of day again.
Yeah.
Because I think you're right in sort of saying if a show gets recommissioned, the idea is that stuff will get used again. And often shows don't know if they're going to come back for a year or so they'll just leave that in storage. But then the person looking after the storage might have moved on to a different production or a different company. And then later down the line, someone realises that, we're still paying storage there. What's in that?
Wow.
And then a lot of storage companies do their own version of recycling or clearance for that. So that's sort of what happens. And the other thing that I was going to mention is there's a Facebook group, which feels quite archaic now, but it does seem to work, where it's called Set, Swap, Cycle. And people finishing, the conscious art directors like Kate was mentioning, or people who are left to deal with some stuff could put up a few pictures and say, we're clearing this, and either try and sell it or just see if anyone wants to reuse it. But yeah, that seemed to be the only thing that was happening.
It's probably really random stuff as well, isn't it? I mean,
that's I think the slight issue is who wants this giant rabbit made especially for this show today.
What show is that?
by 6 p.m. in Enfield. It's like so. I mean, it's not always like that. It's so often furniture and furnishings and costume, so that makes more sense. But it's a really fast, like, we're out of studio tomorrow, or it's in storage, and then, as Emma said, they'll get contacted. Your storage is up next week. What do you want to do? and no one's got the time, or if they don't know what's in there, to go and investigate. So they say to the storage unit, oh, well, can you quote us for clearing it? And the quotes are based on Arctic trucks filling them and taking them to the recycling centre. And what that means behind that, we genuinely don't know. And I'm sure people take stuff that's nice if they're there. But we definitely know that they're not going through it. And actually, we don't definitely know, that's not fair to say. But they're potentially not doing what we would do, which is fine tooth comb, inventory, every single thing, and find out who could use it and how we can get it to them.
So how does that journey work then? So you have relationships with the producers of various different shows, is it? I don't really have much of an understanding of that industry at all. I think in my head it's just one person going, yeah, you make that show, you make that. I'm sure there's multi-layered. But what's that journey? They contact you with that concept of going, we've got this, and then you have to, what's your next step?
Basically, we go in, we inventory everything, and we sort out what could be rehomed, what could be resold to help generate funds for PropUp. Or sometimes we have a conversation with the production company if they wanted to recoup some of the budget. And then anything that can't be rehomed or resold, we look to partner with the most sustainable recycling companies. We then,
I'm just going to say that depending on what that material is, we then obviously look at the best way of disposing of it, so that we know that we are never 100% not to landfill, because it's I don't know if this is fair to quote, you guys might know even better, but it's impossible for us to be completely zero to landfill, because there's always going to be some material that can't be recycled or broken down.
There's so much contamination in certain things. There's always going to be an element. It'd be very rare that you'd find, I mean, who knows, maybe that will change hopefully, but at the moment I'd say it'd be really difficult to do 100% zero waste.
Yeah, and we really pride ourselves, like genuinely the rubbish that ends up at the end, and we don't like the word rubbish, because something that someone would deem rubbish is always usable, but the rubbish we call at the end is genuinely like just the bags of sort of leftover packaging, rubbish that's not usable most of the time.
As in literally rubbish?
Yeah, literally rubbish.
So that's all, wow. So I was expecting like inventory to be like tables, sofas, backdrop.
Yeah.
Or is
it will be. But when we clear through the unit, what I mean is the sort of end bit that's the rubbish left is what we've cleared of, like broken items or pieces of paper that we have to deal with confidentially, or food packaging. Like people store the weirdest of things.
Shredded and recycled. But yeah, going back to once we've got the inventory and we've sorted out what we're going to sort of put out to be rehomed, resold, or recycled, we'll connect to the local community and send out that inventory, and they can reserve items that they really want, rather than we just go, oh, I bet that school will like that, let's drop that off there, or I think that homeless shelter would really like those blankets, because all these charities have limited space and they have a wish list as well, and they shouldn't just get what they're given. We really pride ourselves in the fact that people can choose really good quality stuff from us through these donations from different production companies. And then after that, we just work out the logistics of getting it from storage unit to charities, and I'll upload the impact report for the production company.
So how do you get your message out there to the local community? Do you do it on social media? Do you have, obviously, online website? Where would you expect your target audience to kind of come from?
We are quite old school, because we were researchers in TV, and that is a completely transferable skill, I think, to what we do. We get online, we look at a map, we find out where the local schools are, we call them, we find like the local charities. We have a kind of, I guess, a buzzword list of where to look, and it's all kind of about the local vicinity. As soon as you call one place, if you keep calling people and speak to humans, because it is that old school way, but actually, at the end of the day, that's how it works best. You'll find that one person, that Julie, who goes, oh my God, have you tried this charity? They're just starting a new community centre and they're desperate for that and that and that. And you go, no, but give me their number. And it's definitely just a case of like gathering like that, isn't it? Networking. By doing that, we build our social media. So then once we've supported, like we were in Glasgow, for example, and we reached out to everybody, everyone starts following us. Eventually now we've built quite a network and a directory of people that we can put things on social media and they're alerted. But we also have built a database that if we're back in Glasgow or we're back in Manchester, we send that inventory to the people that we'd connected with before. And it just kind of snowballs a bit, doesn't it? And then people tag on and people say recommended, and we get emails saying, oh, someone told me about this. How do we join your network? I think there's probably a smoother way. There's probably like a clever digital way that we're
Is it like an online
getting
shop?
to.
I guess an online shop almost. Like, so if you've got specialist things like your 6-foot rabbit or whatever it is, that then people could go on there and actually buy these items online. But I guess the delivery, I guess you do the same as any other company, I guess, of the sale of a product.
Yeah, we have actually partnered with ITV and eBay to do just the selling side of props. So it's called ITV Reloved. You can find it on eBay.
Great plug.
Thank you. And so basically the way that works is they send us stuff that they think is sellable and we sell it to the general public. So it sort of makes a lot of fans very happy. And the idea is that once we get to a point where we're making profit, we can split that between PropUp and charities of ITV's choosing. So again, it's encouraging reuse, but eventually we'll also support a social message as well.
And our PropUp plan and our sort of next step is taking everything digital so that all of that stuff we can put on a platform. And either if you want that 6-foot rabbit, I can't believe that's just going to be the theme.
That is going to be the theme now. And we're going to have that as like the image.
And also we've never had
a 6-foot rabbit.
I don't know why that came to mind. No, what I was talking about originally was our plan so that those items, if you were from the public, you could access some sort of platform that we have and you could buy it. Or if you're a charity and you're registered in our system, you can also go on and see what's available and reserve it and pick it up.
Do you mention which programme it's from? Because I imagine that would be quite good. Because that would be really cool. Because I know that I'd be like all over something from Bridgerton to go, oh, I've got something from Bridgerton, or I've got something. People get obsessed with stuff, don't they? Yeah. Currently obsessed with Bergerac. So anything comes up from there, I'm all over that.
It's hard. It's a hard one because we think it's such a brilliant thing to shout about that you're not letting anything go to waste. All this stuff is going to support amazing charities, community groups, or a happy fan. But because of IP and certain, legal NDAs and things that have to be covered, I think some people it's easier to say, very happy to donate it, but please don't say where it's come from, which we understand. But it does help, especially with the selling of things. If you can put sort of a name or a show to an item, it sort of boosts its value so much more.
Yeah, of course.
And how cool it would be to have watched a series and then be able to buy, we also have had this idea of like the way you could push the red button, imagine on like the final episode or whatever, it just had little buzzers
like
and
what you want to have from that scene.
You could click on the shelf and click on the plant and click on the outfit.
Does that work with actors as well? Because there's a few I would definitely choose.
Does not come
Bergerac, that'd be amazing.
Does not come with actor.
You'd have to definitely put that in as a clause.
Yeah. We recently did a little campaign on Reloved because we got a load of Corrie wedding outfits. So be it bride, I think wedding dresses or sort of outfits worn by the guests, like a whole array from different episodes across the series. And one sort of fan got in touch, funnily enough, before we'd even done this Corrie campaign, saying, do you have anything coming up from Corrie? I'm getting married in August and I'm such a fan of the show. And we knew in the back of our heads that we were about to do this big drop of all these amazing items from different weddings across the show. And I actually don't know if she ended up getting anything in the end, but there's so many
little stories
that you can.
Wedding dresses, they must go quite easily because there's so many wedding dress charities, isn't there, for people that can't afford new, or I know mine was secondhand.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to show that like one thing we've learned is even the smallest of things can make such a big difference. And whether that's just making someone really happy who loved the show, or someone desperately in need for something. Like so many of the productions say back to us after the impact report, like, God, like one said the other day, God, those stopwatches that you gave to a girls' football team, we genuinely were just gonna, you know, they were just sort of cheap plastic ones, and we didn't know what we'd do with that. And every tiny thing can find a new home and can be used
Made
again.
a big difference.
Yeah, and
I know
can make a big
firsthand
difference.
from my dad's charity that they're always looking for certain things, because no charity's got loads of money, have they? And they use those boards that you can write on, because it's a language condition. So they've got loads of those that were given to them, and that's made a huge difference to all of them, because now they've got this thing. I mean, I think we're upgrading to iPads soon that my brother's sourcing, and stuff like that it does make a big difference to smaller charities that just need a bit of help. And I'm sure that because your stuff's so random, such a large amount of people can be impacted, can't it?
That's, I think, what we love is like there's a home, we can almost find a home for everything. And because of the randomness, it sort of widens the scope of the different people we can support. So it's not just homelessness, or it's not emergency housing, and it's not schools, or it's not youth projects. It's all of them, because they can all benefit from something or other.
We've given to like farms and dogs and cats homes.
Oh, they're always after towels and blankets, aren't
Yeah,
they?
but just the most like, can't think. Yeah, but
I was going to say, give me some
a
random
lot of
ones.
refugee support, a lot of like clothing for people doing interviews. You know, there's lots of stats about people often don't go for jobs because they lack confidence or don't even have
Have a
smart
suit.
clothes
Yeah,
to
I've
wear.
seen that recently.
Like, there was a single parent charity called Dad's House in West London, and we donated a guitar to them because they wanted to start music lessons between the parent and child. And I think after a while it was 2 guitars, and it kick-started this workshop with them weekly. So it's little things like I said, one prop has now kick-started a workshop within that community that is helping connect people.
You publish that?
Yeah, we try and sort of document it on social media, but because it's just Kate and I most of the time.
They're looking at, it's going to be legal that they track all waste. And it has to have traceability from route. So your waste curbside, for example, has to be dated. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean. From there to onto the vehicle, then off the vehicle to the centre, or then wherever it goes. It needs complete traceability, and I believe it has to be implemented by 26. Scotland are starting it. So yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to big us up at all, but like, it's a different, TV and film is quite exciting to people that don't work in it. Like, for us, it's the day to day, but it is quite exciting. And I think we're so passionate about it that we just need to get in front of the right people, and then maybe they want to be involved in some way, whether that's partnering with us to help with the recycling arm of what we're doing, or giving us a bit of sponsorship, and in return getting a lovely impact report that they can then use for traceability or good
and a
press
bit of PR
Yeah.
into the industry. You know, if people are trying to tap into being the waste people within TV and film, then what a way to, like, I would say now, you know, we spoke to someone the other day who's working on productions, and she said, everyone knows about you. It's so brilliant. Everyone's talking about PropUp, and we never hear that because we don't work in the industry. Well, we do, but, you know, we're not in the offices anymore or in the studios. And it goes to show that people know. So if a waste company wanted to get in the studios or whatever, to say we're supporting PropUp, I do think has now, after 3 years, a lot of weight. So we just wonder if it's worth tapping into.
So is it local, or is it all over the country? Like you were saying, it's generally where the products actually are, and you'd try and get on board from there.
Because we want to keep the carbon footprint down first and foremost. So there's no point if we get contacted about a job in Glasgow for us to go with trucks and bring it down to our hubs in London and sort it from there. But also we want to sort of support and prop up the community where the stuff is. So if you've been filming and impacting the community in Glasgow, how nice to give back by giving literally the stuff back to the different community groups from that point. So yeah, we work up and down the country. We tend to sort of work remotely until a distribution week where either one of us or both of us will go up and we'll crew up a bit like a TV show, local people to help us. And then we distribute it to the different sort of charities, schools, community groups, reuse projects there. And then over the years of doing all that, we've built up a fantastic database online of different charities, schools, community groups, reuse projects up and down the country from, Glasgow to Manchester, Bristol, Bath, Exeter, Essex. Oh, sorry, I get my...
Not actually yet, but we will.
I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Where I'm speaking
Yeah.
it.
Put it out
Day
into-
one has said PropUp LA. And I'm like, and it's like, no, that's where we're going. It's PropUp London, PropUp Manchester, PropUp LA, PropUp Barbados.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Everywhere
the
has
hot
filming.
climates.
Everywhere has filming.
Yeah.
PropUp Australia. Yeah,
go.
that's the idea.
Cool,
Is
that
we
does
want it
sound
to
very
be
busy.
franchise, but yeah, it sounds very busy. But we want it to be like franchisable. That's the. Is that the right word?
The dream, yeah. So
Yeah, that's the
it's
idea.
transferable to other places,
Yeah.
and the same principles can be used again. I think that's the genius way of looking at it, isn't it? Because you can't do it all.
No.
There's too much, isn't there? So you need lots of you all over the place, everywhere where there is filming, I guess.
Yeah.
So you work with Lambeth Council.
So that means we need to connect, to the councils across the country, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because if we can get to the councils, they can then help us get the things to the right people and in the fast turnaround that we do it. Our base and our original base is in Brixton, so our sort of contacts with Lambeth Council are good, and they know about us, and our connections with the local community are also very good. But yeah,
So they
wherever
would
we
help
go-
you. So how does that work with the council then? So you would go to them and say, look, I've got all of this. What would you recommend? How would you recommend me to distribute this? Do you have any projects? Because there's a lot of social value in councils now, and they have to do it as well, which is great. Is that part of that? Is that where it fits?
With Lambeth, it's sort of an interesting one because I think we've probably been introduced to them through the door, pardon the pun, of our community building, which is a meanwhile space. And then for every desk that they rent, they give one away to a charity or non-profit. So we started off just having desk space, which was amazing. And then that's grown to a hub. But because of their connections with the council to continue that meanwhile space, we've met people on the board and had meetings with them. And then they've found out about what we're doing and either put us in touch with different community groups, or I think I was on a call a couple of weeks ago about circular economy within Lambeth. So that's sort of how we got in touch with them. But
Big Up 3 Space, by the way.
Big Up
That's,
3
that's what it's called, 3 Space.
yes, based in International House, new building in Warren Street, very exciting times. But I think because that, as you were saying, opens a lot of connections to community projects or people within the community, maybe in places we haven't been before or had such a big network. If we could just speak to someone on the council, it could almost like, what's the word, when you can jump forward or kickstart
Kickstart
a lot,
it.
rather than us going on Google, looking at a map, looking at the local schools, hoping Julie has a connection to everyone in the community. If we could just speak to someone in the council, then they could feed our information down to the people that need it.
And then what do you give the council? You were mentioning off air a report that would be quite useful.
Yeah, and it's worth saying, it's sometimes we struggle to get the right person in the council or the right email address, but if we could get in there,
That is the nature of the beast with
yeah,
councils,
and that's why
unfortunately.
we had one great schools officer council, for example, in Oxfordshire, who's now our go-to incredible. She's the Julie, but she's not called Julie, but she, and having
Big up Kim James.
Big up Kim. That's who it is.
I love all these
And
plugs. You're just going to have loads of tags of all these names.
But having a Kim James across the country would just support so many more people and help our job run a lot smoother. I'm sorry, Louise, I forgot your question.
I've remembered the question, don't worry. It was about what would the councils get in return. So every job that we do, we create an impact report. It's mostly a social impact report. So it says exactly where everything's gone and who it has helped, testimonials, pictures, a beautiful piece. And we're working on getting the carbon figure to be able to put in, but that's just
Amazing.
proving a bit more time and cost tricky. But if the council helped us sort of unlock the doors to the different community groups, we could sort of offer them the impact for their borough or whatever it is, that so that they could then sort of use in their reporting as well. And it's sort of, that's our piece that could be offered to people, is the impact, the social impact.
We don't see any negative really, because it also supports the productions that, as we've said, turn up in these places, take up sort of space and energy and all the rest of it, to then give it back to the community. And those councils saying, the filming that happened last week that we're all so excited about, well, all of the props and costume also supported all of the local community. Like, that's such a win-win for, we think, and what a beautiful story.
What is your
So
best story?
circular.
What's the most rewarding one that I'm asking you to pluck it out of thin air, I know that, but one of the most rewarding...
I feel like the big jobs, I would say, do you think? Like when we turn up for a week and manage to...
Yeah, like
Just gonna
Glasgow
talk
was
about
amazing and
Screw.
big. But just in terms of things like this happen all the time in a wonderful way, where we had a job in Cambridge last week, and within 3 space the building, I met someone in the lift, and they introduced me to someone who runs Pembroke House, and they are currently revamping a space called the Living Room, which is for the community in Woolworth. And apparently it's got nothing. It's just being painted currently. And I just heard about this job, which was on a show that was a reality show and had loads of furniture. So last week they just paid for a van and they came up and they have kitted out that whole community space. And that's one example of one show. And then off the back of that same job, there's another building that's got loads of furniture that's sort of revamped it. There's 4 local charities. Like, the outreach is amazing, but it always happens to us where there's just one little conversation that suddenly it's like a serendipitous moment where this stuff is going to help, hugely a community space.
And things like one of the charities we work with is for women and children fleeing domestic violence. And the stories that we hear make it worth, us pushing to get this, to do this. When some women and children flee in the middle of the night with nothing, so that there's nothing, so that no one sees any change, and they don't even take the school bag or, too many clothes. It's the clothes on their back or even the pajamas that they're wearing so that no one notices, which means they don't just need a home and a warm space. They need a backpack and new school shoes and a lunchbox and really small things that we take for granted every day that we get in abundance in these, in these storage units. And they have the biggest impact on people's lives to be able to take a new water bottle or a new lunchbox or new clothes. Flooring isn't available in new emergency accommodation. They pull out the flooring. So to provide rugs and lino and carpet that we get is genuinely changing people's lives. And then the boost of like some some cushions and some throws and some pictures for the walls and even fake plants. The feedback that we get is it gives people purpose. It makes them want to get up and, get up in the morning, and it makes them want to strive for better. And whether that's people with serious mental health conditions, people who have been sleeping rough, people who are fleeing domestic violence. These stories are so impactful, and it's not just objects. Like, it's really does change people. Yeah, it really does. And so every job we do, we get those sort of stories, don't we? And like the example we were going to talk about was we cleared a prison drama called Screw. They built the whole prison in a space in Glasgow, and we went and recce'd it. And there are some times when we work on things that it's very obvious you could rehome them. So lovely sofas, lovely homeware, beautiful clothes. But sometimes you go on jobs and you think, oh my God, a prison set. You've got like prison beds, you've got prison costumes, you've got like handcuffs and boots, and it's meant to look shabby as well. And we went up there in a week. Obviously, we did all our research and all our planning before, and we had 1 week, 5 days, and we gutted the whole set. That was rails and rails of costume from extras, all the police officers, everything, and all the furniture, even the beds. The beds went to, I think, a homeless sort of emergency accommodation. The mattresses on the beds were these sort of blue prison beds. And again, we were like, oh my gosh. And a special needs school came and said, these are perfect for flooring for when they're in their soft play. And they took them all for soft play, like crash mats, essentially. And it always surprises us how you can find a home for absolutely everything. That was very satisfying.
I suppose the costumes would be quite difficult because, well, who would want certain costumes? When you're looking at more extravagant ones, is it theatre groups, I guess, like community-based theatre groups?
Yeah. So that's the thing as well about like thinking outside the box, because and we actually find it quite exciting when there's something so random that we're like, oh gosh, well, that can't just go straight to a community group. And thinking sort of, okay, maybe a community theatre, is there an upcoming show of, I don't know, some sort of prison, but they all, you know, everyone needs a stock of costume.
Filmmakers, we've worked with a lot of youth groups, and in Glasgow, for example, one of the people that picked stuff up was an organisation called the Film Cult, and they were young people getting into film and making film and content. And they said our biggest barrier is we can't afford like prop and costume hire and stuff. So we have our own, which is affordable for student filmmakers and people starting out. And they took loads of the costumes.
I was going to say like colleges, art colleges,
universities.
They would really welcome that. Yeah.
There's a fashion college that came down and they took some stuff that they were going to repurpose into something else. And sometimes with like uniform or costume, there might be a bit of branding on it. And as we mentioned earlier about IP, a lot of the time that's either left to be destroyed because it can't be rehomed. But what we've done with PropUp is we connect to upcycling and reuse projects. So in the case of the job in Glasgow, there were loads of high-vis jackets that had the branding of name of the prison on, and we connected to Stitch the Gap, and they have converted them from jackets into laptop bags. So it's little things like that. There's no such thing as waste.
From you, just change them and then sell them to make money for their charity.
And it all sort of runs. It's a beautiful circular.
That is beautiful.
The aim as well is that things are reused in the industry. Like we're now connecting back to the industry because it needs to be circular within itself. So those police costumes.
So surely there's a lot of shows. I mean, I watch nearly all of them. And I wouldn't say they're all similar. They're not, but they all have that familiarity of uniform, at least, or like the backdrop of a prison isn't new, is it? So do they talk?
That needs to be connected.
Yeah.
So if this platform that we want to create would also be perfect for the industry, because when you start a production designer or anyone on the production could look to check if they're somewhere already
that exists, and they can just adapt it, can't they, if they need it to look specifically for them. That seems really odd that wouldn't happen.
There's obviously props houses, there's costume houses, so people can go to them. Often when a show starts, everyone wants it so stylized and so the way they want it that sometimes a props house or a costume studio won't have enough of what they want or the right size of what they want, or sometimes it's quicker and easier that these talented costume makers just make them all fitted to the actors. But there's definitely a way to make it more circular, and not just like even production supplies. So things like the plastic boxes that all these props are stored in, they're really expensive, plastic, really useful whatevers that get bought in the 50s, 100s every time. Well, why can't we just use them again?
Yeah.
We go through them all the time. When you set up a production, you all have trestle tables and lamps on your tables and chairs, and it's all the same. High vis we come across all the time. So our hub in Warren Street the plan is for it to be a circular hub for the industry. So just as much as we have our community support, we now need to create a space or a blueprint for a space where these things are reused. And why not in Soho in the centre of London, where there's loads of production houses? Try to encourage them to come and borrow things from us or buy them at a much cheaper price.
I like this concept. I heard about this at I think it was a comms conference about like libraries where you can go and borrow things. So we were looking, it's in my brain of borrowing garden equipment. But I guess that's the same concept. You could have where you borrow stuff and then take it back. So you have little prop-up libraries, I guess, like for people.
There's an amazing organisation called the Library of Things, and they do just that with, I think it's new stuff.
Like tools.
Tools, yeah.
So gardening, you should definitely connect to them.
We were looking at doing like a pop-up one. That was my thing for maybe next spring, was doing it out of our facility in Dartford and just doing it as a pop-up one and see what impact it had in the community. Because what we try and do is try and stay core to our beliefs as well. We do want to be zero waste. We're a business that it does matter. And we want to be part of a community as well. We've done litter picks and things. And it's not just for putting it out there. It's actually, it matters. Like that's our environment. That's where our staff work and live. It's important. I mean, we all live all around the country. And it's really interesting for me because I was in the girl guiding community and I was a guide leader. I still technically am, but since having my son, I haven't done it. And they always want stuff because that's charity, and I can just imagine how much stuff that they could use. Like there's a world camp every 4 years and it's always themed. So they've done like Harry Potter, and I think I can't remember what this one is now because I'm not actually attending, but they have loads of stuff come in for that. So I could imagine they'd be like, right, I could have this, this and this. And in my head, I've got all these ideas just for you guys. Like
we've donated a lot to Scouts in the past.
Have you?
Yeah. And even sort of, tents and materials and
of course,
cutlery for their camps. But more recently, some actual bits of wood from set pieces that they then decorated and transformed for their...
Again, the irony was that was the prison set. So these were the big signs that had all the rules, like no drugs, no this, no that. And it had been stripped off of all that. And they took it and repainted it and turned it into Willy Wonka themed. So it was all the Willy Wonka
amazing.
And they took, again, from the prison set, which is just so funny, the kind of transition, all the toiletries. So they said that when people come, the Scouts come, I think they were coming from Germany or something maybe, or maybe just from another
There's a lot of
country.
worlds. There's a lot of...
And sometimes they come and they forgot their toothbrush and whatever. And we had loads of toothbrushes in plastic things and wash stuff, all from... That was all just set dressing. So in the prison, if you were in a cell and you had your wash stuff and your toothbrush and everything. So they took, stuff like that as well.
Well, they do like gang shows every year to raise money for the Scouts and guiding joins, and they do one at the Horth in Crawley, and that's all got sets that they make. So I could imagine that would be really useful for them. And there's gang shows all over the UK. That's how they make some money for the charity, because it's not a supported charity. So they have to get quite creative with how they do things as well. And also part of guiding, like syllabus, as it were, is the same message: repairing, circular economy, and learning skills to stop waste from a young age, because guiding starts at 4. I think Scouting does as well, just to kind of get that into their mindset that it's not single use. You can adapt things. So if they're looking at a board that they can strip down and paint, brilliant. They're using their creativity, aren't they, to make it into something else that would normally go to where.
Yeah, we've all talked about this quite a lot, but it's so beautiful. Like out of waste comes so much more for the community. So like all the social projects, like we started PropUp, being honest, however many years ago it was, purely from a social angle. It's like there's a lot of stuff here. People need it. We need to do something about that. Very quickly, we realised it's a hugely sustainable project. And also now we found ourselves in the waste world. And just to sort of reframe people's attitudes towards waste, whether it's like it's just resources in the wrong place. I think Dame Ellen MacArthur said that, or, the fact that it can have such a huge impact on community, whether you're joining your group and doing litter picking together, or you meet your neighbour because you're sharing a tool, or you help transform a community space because you've taken props from a set and given it to a community. It's like there's so much. And I think the social impact and the storytelling of it engages people more than the stats. And that's definitely where we come in, I think.
Connects people, which is what we're losing in this day and age, isn't it? without like getting deep into that.
Yeah.
The biggest thing we're losing is human connection, and that is a massive thing that PropUp does. The people we meet and the stuff that it creates is really special, I think.
Yeah. And
from
so
waste.
diverse. Yeah, and waste. Well, waste is evolving, isn't it? And I think
the
more and
word,
more
yeah.
people are getting on board with that, because so many more charities are being built and projects. I'm hearing them all the time. I was with another lady who won an award, which we'll go into in a second, the award that you won last year. She won an award as well for initiating a project on school uniforms. So throughout the 6-week school holiday, she would take school uniforms, go into co-ops, and then people could just help themselves to school uniforms. And what a huge impact. And it was a massive project. And I love that people are thinking outside the box. And the more people that do that, the better. It helps people, and it stops it going to landfill or not used at all and just in a lockup somewhere. And you're right. And I love the concept, like as saying to you off air, that we've got a premises now that we're looking to do up eventually. And I love the idea of going, well, this came from a TV set, and the sofa you're sitting on, it might come up on a TV program. Or was that the TV? I just really like that idea, and I think that's a great talking point as well. And for anyone looking at a community project, I think it'd be really cool to put out there that's you're working together. I really love that.
We just got rid of the Saturday night takeaway sofa, so
Oh,
maybe
wow.
something like that will come up in the future where you could get your hands on.
Oh my God, I would love that. That would be so much
Think
fun,
of all the
wouldn't
famous
it?
bums that have been on that.
That's a lot of famous bums.
Yeah, that's a lot of famous bums.
But also, I just like the idea that's a known thing, isn't it? And then add that element of storytelling. I love a good story, and to say, oh, look what you've got. Plus, it helps with social media. So, Kate, I met you at the Awards of Excellence last year, and it was a tough category, circular economy, and I just remember being really impressed with something so different, because it wasn't something I'd ever heard of before. So how did you kind of go for this award? How did you hear about it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. Do you remember how we heard about it? It might have been on LinkedIn and through Hannah. Yeah, we had a production executive working with us to help with the kind of business side of things. So in TV, you have the editorial team and the production team. Editorial is very creative, which is what me and Emma are. And we're very much the same skill set. And so Hannah came on board and helped us for a bit with like the legal and the GDPR and the budgeting and all of this. And she sort of said, you need to put yourselves out there more for awards and stuff. So we started looking at what awards were there. And I think she found, Awards for Excellence. So it was actually Hannah who came to the awards with me. So that's how we found it. We did the big application. It's the other thing, dividing our time is really hard because it is just the two of us and there is so much to do and there's so much more you can be doing. And so you have to really prioritise your time. But Hannah insisted, it is really important to prioritise as well, applying for these things to get the kudos and the
visibility. But you're doing something really different. And I think that's needs to be the message getting out there. It's a really untapped area. I'd never heard of it. I'm not saying I've been in waste for years, but 7 years I've never heard of that kind of side of waste. You hear about all the normal things, but standard stuff. But I've never thought, no one really probably considers it because you don't. It's in your TV and it just exists in a different place in your head. You don't actually think, like when you were saying about the products on the side, I just assumed they were empty. Like they're not real. They're just props. They're not actually real things. But that was just my perception. And so I'm assuming that other people would have the same. So people don't necessarily know that waste even exists. It just wouldn't even be what you'd think. Like this room, if this wasn't what it is.
Exactly.
And then you break all of this down because it's on a set, you just wouldn't think about it, like the shelves, the fake plants. So it's a really niche area, and I think it should be better communicated out there, especially with councils and Let's Recycle. So I think it was really good that award kind of came up for you guys.
We were like just so excited. It was the first award we've ever sort of gone for, and to even be told we've been nominated was like so exciting. And then to be invited to Grosvenor House was like, ooh,
It's nice, isn't it?
swanky. Like we've never done.
Oh, it's lovely. Hotter than the centre of the earth in there, but it's lovely.
As glamorous as TV is, like, yes, we step foot on studios and that's all incredible. And unless you're lucky enough to go to the BAFTAs or TV Choice Awards or something, you don't get that experience. So it was a really special evening, and I'm glad we turned up because we were not expecting to win. And I seriously, Emma wasn't there, but I turned into such a drama queen. It was like full Oscar, like,
Oh, I love.
oh my God.
Well, there tears.
And I think the presenter could tell, like, oh, she is not even going to be given a mic. Like, as I stepped on stage, she's like, keep going. I was like, you could tell, don't give this girl
I want
a
to
mic.
thank my mum, and I want to thank.
So, yeah, it was fun, yeah.
And the other award that you mentioned,
Yes, we also won a B Lambeth Award, which is sort of a borough-wide celebration, and that was for climate impact. So again, just didn't expect to win at all, but I think because any stuff that we can't rehome local to where it is, we bring back to our Lambeth community, and we have supported so many different organisations, from reuse projects to schools and
Ebony Horse
charities
Club?
to the horse. Like
Okay.
National Lottery funded stables around the corner. They've
Wow.
had buckets, and we even had reins recently from a Christmas show,
Horse
along
reins,
with
yeah.
horse
Oh,
reins
wow.
that they must have used as a prop for like Santa's reins. So they've got a brand new set of reins. Like, I love about each
I
prop
love
is
how
so random
random
and
it is.
different.
I love how random
Yeah.
that is. You just wouldn't think about it.
I know.
I'm
We
going
had
to
a
look at
coffin
programmes.
once.
You did what?
We had a coffin once.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could imagine that because, I mean, like in Corrie, there's a lot of them, isn't there? Blimey, killing off everyone.
yeah.
Yeah, and EastEnders recently, killing off everyone, aren't they?
Spoiler alert, but it's already been out.
I was going to
so,
say that
yeah.
I'd say that's pretty
If-
well watched
Yeah,
now.
if you're an EastEnders
Yeah.
fan, you will have tuned in.
You're going to see it. I didn't see it. I just watched the aftermath on the One show. Oh, that's probably a good thing. I don't want to ruin
I
it
don't
for
think
you.
Tell
you
me
watch
after.
EastEnders anyway.
No,
No.
it is on in the background. I don't know how.
I don't know how you
Got
missed that
into
then. It was a
anyway.
live episode.
Yeah. And also, everyone's been talking about it.
Yeah.
God.
But
Been
anyway,
under a rock.
that coffin is now.
Because you're so busy getting rid
Yes,
of all these
exactly.
props.
Coffins.
Oh, coffins. Where did the coffin go? Do I want to know where the coffin went?
Well, actually, we sort of bypassed the funeral homes, even though we did think there would be families that can't necessarily
Yeah.
afford the expenses of coffins and funerals. But there was a local theatre that were doing Dracula that
Perfect.
term, so they have it in their store.
It was a made one as well, so it wasn't necessarily the right dimensions, and so it
Or suitable
naturally,
for-
Yeah, also, yeah, it probably just wasn't suitable for actually what it looked like.
Yeah. But, okay,
yeah,
well, I
so
don't know
B
where we got
Lambeth
from that,
Awards you were
B.
talking
Lambeth.
about.
Yeah, B. Lambeth
Yeah.
Awards. Yeah, for climate
That
impact.
was our second one. Yeah, and we need to apply for more, really, don't we?
You do, because it's
Yeah.
making a bit, and I just think getting the message out there. And I mean, we'll share this on all of the different channels and try and tap you
Award
up
us.
with.
Everyone award us.
Unfortunately, the only award we give out is the Garden Waste Award, and I don't think unless you, no, there's no
Garden
capacity for you
furniture?
to. No.
Garden furniture, and also we
If you do get any garden stuff, then obviously I'd be interested in
Yeah.
that. But in terms of winning a Garden Waste Award, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe you could give it at our next event. You could be the people that hand out the award if you want.
We have,
Yeah.
I was thinking if we have any garden costume, you could wear it to present the award. We had watermelons from Dancing on Ice, and one of the watermelons has gone to a food charity to be their mascot.
God, dancing on. Oh my God, if anything from
Yes.
Strictly, I would.
I know we would. We actually contacted them once, didn't we? But
I'm
BBC
obsessed
is
with
a
that
bit
show.
difficult.
Yeah, I bet. I'm obsessed with that show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love it. I think a lot of people are though.
because that would
That'd be a
Strictly
money.
outfits would be quite good. But BBC, yeah, where do they all go? Strictly,
think they
where do they all
reuse-
go?
Where do they all
Yeah.
go? Unless there's like loads of theatre groups just like rocking up in
Yeah.
Strictly outfits that we haven't seen.
Possibly.
Or reuse. They might.
Yeah, they might
I'm
reuse
gonna,
them or adapt them.
I'm going
or-
to say and give them benefit of the doubt that they
Yeah,
would
no, I'm
reuse them.
Yeah, yeah, they won't
Yes.
be. No, they won't be.
There's some that they wouldn't be able to reuse, like the Shrek outfits and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because
They're
there's
good,
some.
aren't they?
Yeah, they're really good.
Setting up PropUp has been like a huge passion project of ours, but also one of the biggest things we've ever done, like in terms of learning. As Kate mentioned earlier, we are from a very creative background. So coming up with the idea and things to do within PropUp comes quite easily, but not the business side of things, setting up a company, all the legal stuff you have to do. So we've just had to sort of throw ourselves in there head first, but have to do another big up, or thanks to Sustainable Ventures, who have given us free business support. They do courses in like how to develop a net zero company. They connect you to a different ecosystem of people working in the same fields. And yeah, without things like that, it's really hard for startups. You know, funding opportunities. It's been a huge learning curve for us.
Who would you reach out to for funding opportunities?
Anyone who
Yeah,
would like to step forward and support us, apart from like immoral companies.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, we won't take their money.
I think genuinely, like funding wise, I say anyone, but anyone that like is likes the sound of what we're doing, is interested by what we're doing, if it taps into their world in any way. You know, we tap into so many different areas. Waste, 100%. You know, we're totally part of the waste industry now. The TV industry, you know, we're constantly communicating with them about how we can work together and how they can maybe support us. Obviously, we offer a service to them. So we want to be as professional as that service as possible. So funding opportunities might be worth looking at in other places, if that makes sense, because they're our clients at the end of the day, the TV industry. So I'd say the waste industry, environmental, you know.
Environmental services.
Yeah.
Something, along the waistline. I guess that's a good plug, and we can hope that many people watch this and get on board with supporting projects like this. I think it's like I said before, it's a niche one, and I think people wouldn't be surprised if loads of people get on board.
Let's do it. Let's hubs across the country, across the world,
and in LA.
PropUp LA.
You keep on going back to PropUp LA. Is this a mission of yours?
Emma will do that one.
Okay, you
I've
want to do
actually never
Australia?
been to LA.
Okay.
And I have, and it's a bit underwhelming. So Emma can do that one.
I
Okay.
just like the idea of us spreading the prop-up love
To Hollywood.
Yeah.
worldwide.
To Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing goal.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
So
actually,
heading.
finish on, what is your next goal? What is it? Have you got this master plan, your blue sky?
I'd say it's taking it digital. So getting it, like trying to work out a system where it's all in that incredible digital world that we, you know, live in now, whether it's an app or a platform that can, these networks we've created, if we can just go and make it all connect easier. We do a lot of manual work, you know, we're definitely working hard, and we need to try and work out some sort of platform that will make it more smart, working smarter, I think. And that way we can connect to more people as well. And
then I guess you
more
can
work.
make it easier to be a franchise.
Yeah.
You can just
Yeah.
pick that model up and put it somewhere else if it's a more digital, because otherwise it's too,
Yeah.
the manual
We
side of
can't
it's
go
too,
everywhere
yeah,
and be...
you're only two people.
Yeah.
Making
Yeah.
a big difference, but still just two people.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of blue
I think that's a
sky,
great
and just to
goal.
keep growing really, and to be the service that the whole industry uses. That could be a blue sky. That every production is thinking about where their waste goes at the end. There's so much thought at the beginning. You know, you think of the huge budgets and all the talent that goes into it, and then it sort of stops. And they need, you know, for us to be thought about.
So the dream
the
would
help
really
at the
be at the very
end.
beginning to go, right, when this finishes, we contact these guys and they'll just sort it. We don't have to think about it. This happens, this is what we get. They will come in and do it. And you're just the natural part
Just
of
part
that
of the
process.
system,
Part of the
yeah.
system, yeah.
Yeah.
And the line is already in the budget, ready to go.
Yeah. That would be the perfect way, wouldn't it? At the very, very beginning rather than the panic at the end. Because then that will also give you a bit more time, I guess, because you'll know what the sets, you'll have the inventory ending of a show. So you can almost get your inventory in before it's come available.
Yeah.
I think I would just say one other
Please
thing.
do.
If we're talking about Reloved, can't not mention the wonderful Amy who
Yes.
runs it for us. So whilst it is just me and Kate, Amy, we've employed Amy to run the ITV Reloved store. So she's sort of the one that processes all the fun props and gets them out to the Corrie fans, and she's
Writes
been amazing.
personalised notes to people,
Oh,
and
nice.
the resell arm of what that is. She's a total hero, isn't she? Yeah.
Is there anyone else part of the project that you want to mention? Now's your opportunity.
Well, we have
Everyone,
lots of-
really.
everyone that comes on board with PropUp is amazing. But as we said earlier, we sort of crew up like a production. So it's me and Kate and then Amy full time. But
we've had like
loads of amazing
from our
fun.
brothers, like Sam, Ben, Harry, like everyone. Whenever we need people, they join on. People, our friends from the industry as well. That if they're in a gap, they've stepped in and volunteered with us. Parents at sales come and help with selling things. Husbands, partners, even Freya, Emma's little girl, is always at our sales, like
probably being a
selling
little
the
less,
outfits,
just providing the entertainment.
I need to see more of this. So I'll put a link to your website below, and thank you so much for joining us today on Better Waste Services. And I'm sure loads of councils that follow PermaServe and Better Waste Services podcast will be interested to hear about everything we've spoken about. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you. It's been really fun.
Yeah, really fun.
Our first podcast.
Oh, I can't wait to share it with everyone. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Thank you.